Thank you so much for having me. So glad to be in hot Atlanta. And boy, is it hot. My hair is getting bigger by the minute as I'm sitting here. But I come to you from New York City. But as you can, that's right, as you can probably tell, I'm not originally from there, right? I'm from LA, Lower Alabama. So essentially, I have come home, and I'm so glad to be here back in the South. And I had a biscuit this morning. I was so pleased. No more bagels for the weekend. You know, it's a lot of things. There's a Chick-fil-A here. I'm just so happy. But anyway. No, but I've really enjoyed my time in New York, and thank you, Eric, for having me. I was supposed to be here last year, and my husband had a medical emergency, so I had to cancel, and I've been thinking about all year of the opportunity that I missed out on last year. But you know what? Sometimes things just work out because I have an even better story to tell in these past 12 months. So Eric really wanted me to share my story with you because we talk all the time, you know, on the train, going places, coming to places. And so this is a picture of me. Sorry, we didn't have iPhones when I was born, so this is probably a Polaroid taken with an iPhone and then posted here. So this is a picture of me just a couple of months old. I won't tell you how old I am, but you can probably tell from my father's afro what decade this is, right? But there are not a lot of pictures of me as a child, and no, not because I was an ugly baby. I was a cute baby. But because when I was about 6 weeks old, my parents were informed that I had a congenital heart disease. And my childhood, I was very, very, very ill, in and out of the hospital, you know, several times a year, but suffering from pneumonia, hospitalized cases of pneumonia. Now, my mother was convinced, rather, that my heart disease and my pneumonia were related. But my pediatric cardiac surgeon or doctor determined it was not and refused to see me. So I would only go see him once a year, wouldn't see me in between, but my condition worsened over the next decade. And by the time I made it to the 6th grade, I spent the whole month of December in the hospital. So my mother's like, enough is enough. So she started calling the cardiologist on a daily basis, begging them to see me, and she kept getting the same response. Her heart condition and her pneumonia are not related. So, you know, one time after a particularly long bout in the hospital, she called again. This time she got someone else on the phone. It was a nurse. And the nurse said, oh, and by the way, that's not me. That's just a cute little other black girl that I liked on the internet. That's the good thing about the internet is you can literally be who you want to be. Isn't that right, Sharon? You make up your own story, your own pictures, right? So she calls, she gets this person who could hear the desperation in my mother's voice and said, you know what, I don't think there's a correlation, but you sound so desperate. I'm a mother, I get it. I'm gonna get your daughter an appointment. So I lived in Montgomery, Alabama. We trek up to Birmingham, Alabama to UAB, about an hour away. And the doctor puts the cardiogram thingy on my heart and says, oh my gosh, you've got 6 months to live. I was 11 years old. So that was in April. I was determined to finish out the school year. I was going to win anyway, even then. And I just made the cheerleading team. So my response was, oh, thanks, but no thanks. I hear you, but I'm going to be cheering next year, and I can't do flips with this thing down my chest. I lost that battle. You know, they made me go have the surgery. And when I got there and they did the I forget what you call it. They go through the leg and look through the look on the other side of the heart, catheterization. They saw a problem that was worse than the one that they knew about. So really, I had less than 6 months to live. So when you're 11 years old, you're not really absorbing all of this at that time. And it took me a while to really realize what I had gone through during those years and realize, number one, how fortunate I was. I had a mother that was not giving up on me. how fortunate I was that that nurse answered that phone on that day and looked beyond, or went outside of the box, looked beyond what she had taught through her medical knowledge, through being a nurse, and got me that appointment. And when that dawned on me, and I can remember the particular time, because I think I was down and out about something else that was going on at work and felt really defeated. And for some reason, I thought about that time and said, you know what? If you could face death at 11 years old, but there was someone that was in my life rooting for me to survive and thrive, and there was someone that did not know me that was rooting for me to survive and thrive, I can darn sure root for myself to survive and thrive. And that's when I came up with the concept of the power of one. Sometimes it just takes one person, one act, one event to change your life. Some of you that just heard the speaker before me, that probably changed your life. And the speaker before that made me think, you know what, I have been an ATM automatically Tasha's money to my family members for the past, I don't know how long, and that stops today. He's my power of one. so, you know, there you go. So I can't really see it. But, you know, but the power of one is the power of the individual through his or her own ordinary everyday works and actions to bring about extraordinary change. It is the power to lead from where you are, use what you've got to make a difference in this world. Now, the power that I'm talking about is not that superficial power that we tend to think of when we think of power. And I think that you just spoke about that. It's not your job title, your bank account, it's not your mailing address. Again, that type of power is superficial and has a little influence on your ability to lead and positively influence others. In fact, that type of power allows us to excuse ourselves from the problems that are going on around us. It allows us to be passive and complicit when we witness incivility, harm, and danger. And those that are operating with superficial power tend to operate in what I like to call default mode, meaning we do little to nothing when we see others in harm and danger. Yeah, we might complain, we might gripe, and we most certainly tweet, Snapchat, Twitter, LinkedIn, but we take no real action. And when we're operating in default mode, that has the ability to wound, paralyze, and destroy the people and circumstances around us. I almost let someone operating in default mode wound, paralyze, and destroy me. I'm growing up, and that's a real picture of me. I did not get that off the internet. But so before I started my real career as an attorney, as an author, as a consultant, and as a mom and wife sometimes, you know, but my career, I worked at a mid-sized law firm in Montgomery, Alabama, as a file clerk, started as that temporary employee. I went and got a degree in political science, but no one seemed to get around to telling me that there would be no jobs for a political scientist. So I was sitting around, what do I do with this degree? So here I am, a file clerk in the basement, filing files. And someone there was this law firm. It was 100 attorneys, 98 of them were white men. There were two female attorneys, it's 101 and one black male. And then there was me, and the only African-American female, and another African-American female that was an accountant. And while I was working there, though, despite no one else working there that looked like me, despite the fact that I didn't really know a lot of black female attorneys besides Claire Huxtable, who I idolized and just thought one day while watching The Cosby Show, you know what, I think I can do that, even though I never really saw her practice law. She just really looked good. I like the way she dressed. I was like, I want to dress like that, listen to jazz music with my husband. That was my dream. And that's what we do. We listen to Moody's Move for Love every single night. So I decided to go to law school. I take the LSAT. And at that time, I was a single mother. And as you can imagine, I had those that were telling me, you know, this is not going to work out for you. You don't go to law school as a single mom, and by the way, you're broke. But I took the LSAT, I did really good on it, and I got a full scholarship to the University of Arkansas. So I packed my 5-year-old up. My first day of law school was his first day of kindergarten. But hey, you win anyway. But on my last day at the law firm, everyone was saying their goodbyes. Someone sent an email out, make sure you congratulate me, and I'm walking around high-fiving, yeah, Bob, I'm going to do this, you know. But later on that day, the other African-American female came into my office and said, I need to share something with you. So she goes, I was in one of the senior partner's office, and when I walked in, he said, congratulations, good luck in law school. To which she replied, I'm not going to law school. Oh, you're confused. Natasha is. To which he replied, oh, so who are you? Now, she had worked at the law firm for 5 years and had been in and out of his office every day. I had worked there for 3 years and had been in and out of his office almost every day. But sometime during the course of our tenure there, we had become one person. One of us was invisible. Now, can you imagine how I felt? I felt, you know, I was wallowing in self-pity and doubt and fear. All of a sudden, my confidence just went out the door. I said, Claire Huxtable really is just a fictional character on TV. And, you know, I had fallen victim to someone operating in default mode. And I came home and told my family that night, I'm not going. Who was I to think that as an African-American female, I would gain the credibility and respect that you need in this legal profession? What was I thinking? And on top of which, I'm a single mom and I'm broke. But my family, very active in the civil rights movement. My family had overcome so many obstacles. My family had reminded me of the obstacles that I had overcome and said, you're getting in that car, you're driving to Arkansas, you're taking your tail to law school. And that's what I did. So I got rid of that self-pity, that doubt, and that fear. But oh, by the way, because I'm a little petty, a few years later, after I graduated from law school, I made sure to look up that senior partner and remind him who I was after I became a professor of labor law at Georgetown University. Sometimes your power wants to be petty, but I don't do that often, but sometimes it just really makes you feel good about yourself. But what I also realized was that would not be my first brush with someone operating in default mode in the workplace. So after I graduated, I was invited to work at Walmart Stores Incorporated that was located where I went to law school. They were very welcoming of me in the legal department. And then they invited me to work on the human resource side. Now, if you remember, 15 years ago, when you heard about bad employment,